Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of TDSM of Diversion 2K23. I am Vidhi Mantri.
And I'm Bhashwati Roy, your host for today.
I'm hoping that multiple pull requests and forks have already been made on GitHub, and this open source event is happening in full swing. We welcome our speaker for today, Arunima Chaudhuri, an MLH Fall Fellow of the year 2022 and also a member and contributor at Layer 5.
So, hello Arunima, welcome to Diversion 2023. And how are you doing? And it would be great if you could introduce yourself to the audience. I'm sure everyone is eagerly waiting for you to introduce.
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. And yeah, so thanks for the sweet introduction. As she said, yeah, I'm a member and contributor at Clarify, and I am a Harvard Women Engineers Tech Fellow. And yeah, I was also also MLH Fall Fellow in the year 2022, and I was working with Solana Labs. And before that, I was also an MLH Prep Fellow. So yeah.
That's great. And now we'll quickly jump to the questions we have made for today. So, over to you, Vidhi.
Thank you. So, as this event is all about open source and its development in the recent years, our audience would love to know about how you started your open source journey and how is it going now.
Okay, so I started my open source journey back in March. That time I knew nothing about open source other than just that we have something called Google Summer of Code and it is an open source program. So that was the time when I was looking for some remote internships. And while I was searching on YouTube and Google about various remote internships, I got to know that all the open source programs are actually remote. And that's when I came across this video on YouTube about on that is on Kunal Kushwa's channel, that 25 plus open source program. So that's where I got to know about a lot of open source programs and also the MLH fellowship from there. All the other open source programs, they had certain fixed deadlines, but MLH fellowship, the application was open throughout the year. So I decided to apply for it. And yeah, that's where my open source journey actually started. And I also referred to Kunal Kushwa's channel and Eddie Chowdhury's channel to learn about how to join the open source communities, how to start contributing. And yeah, my initial contributions were very basic, like improving some grammatical errors and correcting some typing mistakes or adding some resources to some repositories, or in Hacktoberfest many of us has done that, adding the past projects as contributions. So they were very basic, but then slowly I advanced, like adding padding and adding margin to some elements. And yeah, after that I started making some better contributions, like working on making maybe a nav bar and a drop down menu or things like that, or maybe improving the loading time of a website and things like that. Yeah.
That's great. So, you proved that slow and steady wins the race.
It was a very slow because initially I couldn't understand like what is there in the code base and nothing. Like making a pull request was also like it was very frightening. I still remember I how many times I thought before sending the first PR, but yeah, it's okay.
As a beginner, I can totally relate to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Arunima, we all know that you have been contributing to Layer 5 and you are also a member of it now. And as we all know that Layer 5 is a great open source community, and we would love to know how did you end up choosing Layer 5 and contributing to it?
Okay, so like I always made contributions in front end, and I learned front end mainly from like pre-code camp, MDN docs and W3 schools. So I was looking for some area where there is some organizations which has some good front end projects and also has some back end projects also. I got to know about Clear5 when I was contributing in the Hacktoberfest, and they had some good first issues which I started working on. The best thing I liked about Clear5 is that they are very welcoming to newcomers. Any question that you ask on the Slack, within a few hours, someone will reply. It is a very active community. Also, they have some weekly meetings. So every Thursday, there is a newcomers call where every newcomer is given a proper guidance on how to start contributing. And yeah, it was very easy for me to get started with contributing, and I got to know everyone. I learned a lot from there. And yeah, I continued contributing from basic issues, as I said, like adding maybe a margin, and then working on some better issues like maybe making some modifications on the nav bar, or like anything which is a bit more advanced. And yeah, I got around 10 or 11 pull request merged, and after that I got an invitation to join the organization.
Okay, that was a wonderful journey. And so, according to you, Layer 5 is a great community for newcomers to start with because it's so active.
I think almost, or like a lot of communities are active, but just that I got to know about it, and I started there. So yeah, I think that you can find a lot of communities choose like what suits your interest. Like there are many people who are interested in DevOps, so they can choose a community who has some projects in that area. It depends from person to person.
Okay, that is great.
Okay, so the next question from my side. Please, could you share your journey with AnitaB.org?
Okay, so like AnitaB.org is very special for me because it was the first time like I was a mentor at Open Source Hack, and it was the first acceptance mail I got after a lot of rejections. And I think we all have seen this, that whenever we start applying, we get a lot of rejections, and that first acceptance letter that comes is always very special. So in March, when I was searching for some communities, I got to know about anitaB.org, and I signed up for their newsletter. So and took the free membership. They have paid membership as well, but they have the free membership also. So I took the free membership, and when I took the membership, I used to get the newsletters for the various events. I started joining the events, and started like that time they had something called volunteerism bootcamp. So I just registered for it and started attending the sessions and completed it. So in one of the newsletters, they sent a mail that we are having a program called Open Source Hack, and we are looking for mentors. So initially, I thought that as a mentee only, I'm getting rejected. How can I get selected as a mentor? So I just neglected the email. But after that, uh, I remember exactly 5 hours or 6 hours was left for the deadline, and they again sent that email that we are looking for mentors. So if you are interested in it, please fill up the form. So I decided, okay, in worst case, I will get another rejection. Let's just apply. So I applied and I got selected. I think the reason that I got selected was because I knew the community for a long time. I was volunteering there, I was attending their events, so I had an idea about it. And also, I feel that when you have nothing in your resume, na, it is very easy to get selected in such volunteering opportunities. They don't have so much filters, and it helps in building up the resume. So that's where my journey with AnitaB.org started. And after completing the volunteerism bootcamp, as I said, and also the open source hack, uh, I in one of the events they were giving out free tickets for the GSC. So that's how I got a free ticket to attend the GSC conference also. And recently, I also got an invite to join the software engineering community. So it's an amazing opportunity for me. Like also, even if you're not interested in volunteering, they have a lot of membership events. That is also something that we all can join, and connect with more women technologists from around the world.
So, when was this about? Like, when was this happening in your life? In which year?
Oh, this year only in 2022. In March, I took up their membership, and that's when I don't remember the exact time they sent the form, but the open source hack event happened in July.
That's great, great.
Okay, so coming to the most exciting part of the entire season. So how, I mean, how did you get the motivation to join MLH Fellowship? And if you could brief us about how MLH Fellowship helped you in your open source journey, and it would also be great if you could just point out the advantages of becoming an MLH Fellow.
Okay, so like as I said that as I said, I watched the 25 plus open source programs video that Kunal Kushwaha had made on his YouTube channel, and when I was going through almost for the all the events, they were not accepting applications except the MLH fellowship. And also the process seemed pretty simple to me because like in GSOC and all, you have to write a whole proposal and you have to know the project a bit. But in MLH fellowship, even if you have done any basic project, you can just submit the project and go ahead. So that's when I started applying. I faced a lot of rejection. I got rejected almost 3 times before I got selected for the prep program. So whenever I got rejected, I always made a note of the interview questions they are asking. And I made sure that whenever I'm sitting for the next time and applying for the next time, and if I get selected, I can prepare them well and then improve my answers. Also, first time I reached to till the final interview, but after that I got rejected. That's when I got connected with a lot of MLH fellows on LinkedIn and asked them to review the application. So yeah, also MLH, when they reject your application, they give a proper detailed feedback. So taking the feedbacks from MLH and also from the past fellows, asking them to review my application, improving my project and application. Like after that, I got selected for the prep program. The I think after the prep program, the advantage of doing the prep program is that after completing the prep, if we apply for the main fellowship, the application gets fast tracked. So you don't have to go through the application round and initial interview again. You will get the direct call for the technical interview. So that's an advantage that I got after completing the prep. So prep is like a pre-fellowship. It is not like we don't work with companies there. We work like I worked when I was a prep fellow. I worked on a portfolio project and a weather application project, and it is of 3 weeks. After that, when I joined the main fellowship, that was when I was working with Solana Labs on building a Python SDK. I think the how it helped me build up my profile is that one thing is that MLH is a very famous program and a few students get selected. So that itself is something that we can highlight in a resume and our interviews. And apart from that, making such like working on such big projects without guidance is a bit difficult. I remember in MLH, but like every moment I needed help from the mentors and the pod leaders or from any of my teammates to understand what is going on. How can I go to the next step? How can I solve this bug? So, like that mentorship and that community helps a lot to work on such big projects. Otherwise, working alone might be a bit difficult.
True, true. Also, working in a team gives a fair advantage to everyone.
Yeah, I think everyone helps each other in MLH prep as well as the main fellowship. So let's say like if I am stuck in my task, it's not that only the like everyone else, if they have like they can help in any way, they will help. So that's a very good thing that about MLH programs. Like everyone is ready to help each other.
So, as you said that MLH accepted very basic projects, like you weren't working into a very showy project. So, what was your project like? A detail on it, and how exciting was your experience?
Okay, so about the project that I work in the fellowship or the project that I submitted as application, which one?
We could talk about both of them. Like the audience would be highlighted.
Okay, okay. So about the project that I submitted is called Explore CS. So it is basically a website for exploring the various domains in computer science through various fun activities. So I think one thing that worked for me was that I didn't like look for any past I didn't copy pasted any project from tutorials. Okay, so I was simply reading the things on either. MDN talks or from free code camp, and whatever I was learning, I was applying that in the project. And in the application, I wrote the entire story that, like whatever I was learning, I was applying. And since I loved exploring the various domains in computer science, I made a project on that. And MLH is also like their motto is also something like that, that learn by doing. And I think that's where the things clicked and worked for me. So even if it was a simple project, they liked the fact that whatever I was learning, I was applying to that. And I didn't like use any like famous templates. I built the website right from scratch. These things worked for me.
So it was a practical approach, totally.
Yes, like I never like I when I was making the project, I never had it in mind that I will use this project for applying for the fellowship program. I was simply learning and applying the things, and that's what I also wrote in my application. And yeah, that helped me to some extent. And about the project that I worked in the main fellowship, it was like building a Python SDK for the decentralized finance platform called Zeta. And they already had a TypeScript SDK, but they also like they wanted us to build a Python SDK right from scratch, and that's what we worked on. But I think like uh, although they had given us like a few, but the tasks changed during the course of time because every time we were facing some bugs and it took some time to debug them. So like yeah.
It was overall a very rocky experience, sometimes getting bugs and other times getting results.
Okay, and yeah, like we were working on building the SDK right from scratch, so we didn't get any such merge conflicts. Others had who were working on already some projects that were already made, they had to face a lot of merge conflicts also, which is like another thing, solving them.
Yeah, so it was great to hear about your MLH fellowship journey. Now we would love to hear your journey about Harvard WECode, including the scholarship as well as your tech fellowship experience.
Okay, so like if anyone wants to apply for it, first thing that I would say is follow their page on LinkedIn because that's where they update about that. Okay, the applications are out for the tech fellowship, or the applications are out for the scholarships, and this helps in a way that you don't miss the deadline. And since I was also following their page, that's where I got to know about the tech fellowship. So uh, for attending the conference, they have a scholarship called WEAmplify scholarship. And as a tech fellow, you actually work on publicizing the event, and you also work on like making some swag designs and working with other committees that are organizing the conference. So yeah, let's start with the application process. In the application, they ask a few questions like why you are interested in attending the conference, what value will you add, what is your past experiences, what excites you about computer science. I think the one thing that helped me stand out in the application was uh, I like wrote about my past experiences, like the experiences with various communities, what I like. And Harvard WeCode it all is also a students program, so it is also about communities and collaboration. I think that's one thing that worked for me, that I made the answers a lot personalized by speaking about my experiences and not writing any general answer. So yeah, I think for the tech fellowship and also for the scholarship, the answers are almost same. The questions are almost same. That what you will gain, why do you want to attend the like attend the conference, what you will gain by attending the conference. So I would suggest that like going through the conference page, listening to a few past talks, and understanding what the conference is about, and then applying for it. So this way, we can write better answers.
That's
And
great.
about the tech fellow,
Yeah,
Yeah.
please
yeah,
continue.
about the tech fellowship journey. So it is not something that we have to do full time. It is like as a tech fellowship, we are supposed to like write articles, publicizing the event, write some blog posts, and yeah, work with like there are a few committees like the professional development committee. They have their own events, so we are supposed to attend that and actively participate in all the activities. They have some swag design contests, and they have a lot of activities overall. So throughout the fellowship, we participate in all these activities, interact with each other, and it is a very like fun, fun type program. So it is more on publicizing the event, selling the tickets, and yeah, encouraging others also to uh, attend the conference and like talking about the benefits of the conference, like let others know about this activity like that.
Our audience would definitely be motivated.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next question, please enlighten us about the LIFT scholarship program and how can we become a part of the same?
Okay, so the LIFT scholarship program, I exactly don't remember when they released the application, but you can definitely follow their pages on LinkedIn or follow a few of the past fellows. They post when the applications start. So when the application starts, we have to fill up the application. So LIFT scholarship is, if we get the scholarship, we get to take any Linux Foundation course or exam at free of cost. They will send you a coupon code, and if we apply that code, we get to complete the course or give the certification exam at no cost. So this is the advantage of getting the LIFT scholarship. Also, LIFT scholarship has a lot of categories. So while applying, this is very important that we apply to the correct category that matches our past experiences and what we want to do. Like I was very much interested in open source. So I applied to the women in open source category and it worked for me. So applying to the correct category is also very important. And so in the LIFT scholarship applications, they have a few questions like how will you use the scholarship? Like how will the scholarship help you? And here also I would say like it's important that you share your experiences. Like there are some questions like how will the training help you uh, improve your knowledge and how will you contribute to the community. So here also like I shared my experiences of being of volunteering at various communities, and I highlighted that if I like to the knowledge that I gain so will help me in sharing with others and also help other members of other communities also. So yeah, they have a few questions and we need to answer them through our experiences, not any general answers. So if we write any general answers, then there is a high chance that we might get rejected. So we should write our stories, what we have done, and why we are interested in getting the scholarship.
So, basically, the trick is to make it personalized and write it honestly.
Yeah, write it honestly. Share your own stories. Like we all, like I know, like I was interested in taking up computer science because it is a very exciting career. Like every day there is something new to learn. Now I think Kubernetes is the new thing. Like everyone is excited about it. So if, this is something that I really liked about computer science. Like it has a lot of areas to explore, and so just write why you are passionate about it. That's
Okay, that's great. Coming to the next question, like any other things would you like to mention to boost our audience confidence so that they can start their open source journey and it can help them in the long run too?
okay. So I think the best. Can you repeat your question once again?
Yeah, sure. So we would like to hear some tips from your side so that we can boost our audience confidence so that their open source journey can be much more easier in the long run.
Okay, so I think open source journey, like it is actually very easy. Like sending the first PR or making the first contribution can be a we can like we really get afraid. But yeah, just join a community that is active and that is very welcoming to newcomers. You can easily find that whether it is active or not by looking at the uh, like the communication channels. For layer 5, I know it is Slack, so I always found that everyone is active there, everyone is answering the questions there. So and get started with the good first issues. Don't just jump, as I said, like start from the very basics. The like it can even be raising a simple issue. Like if you find any bug, you can raise an issue. That's also a contribution. You can start writing blogs on some simple topics that you know. That's also a contribution. Okay, so in layer 5, I know they have a writing program. So they have some basic topics also which you can start with. So every community that is active will have something to get started with. So just join the community, introduce yourself in the public channels, and always ask for help. So if you're not understanding how to get started, just write that I'm good with these skills. I have worked on these projects, and can you please guide me on where to get started, or like get some good first issue assigned to me related to these skills, and they will help you out.
Okay, that's great. And so you expect that we should always communicate with the mentors and other community members to get started as well as continue a smooth journey, right?
Yes, always ask in the like the public channels of the communities, and yeah, don't message anyone because it's not necessary that your doubt will be solved by a particular person. Anyone in the community can help you out. So always ask in the community channel. Another thing is that ask good questions. Like just don't ask that where can I get started. Rather mention your skill sets, what are the projects you worked on, and what you are looking for. That will help them also to give a proper answers because there is time zone differences also. So it might take some time to get the answer back, and this will help that when they answer your questions, you will get a proper answer. You will get some guidance. So ask good questions. Give as many details as you want, as you can.
Yeah, that seems great. Also, what would you suggest regarding starting the contribution? Like, we should go through the code base properly, then clone it in our repository and understand it, or just go to the issue section and find out what is the problem we can solve.
I would suggest that first set up the code base in your local system, and yeah, like I know, like with Windows, we face a lot of problems while contributing. So, if possible, shift to Linux. I would say it makes the journey a lot more easier, and also every like you can find the instructions to set up the project in the contributing.md file or in the README file, and most of them are for Linux. In Windows, we start getting a lot of bugs, so if possible, shift to Linux. I don't know if of any other alternatives because I use Ubuntu currently for making the contribution. So yeah, set up and also start with some project of which you are at least familiar with some of the languages. Let's say you are starting your contribution in a code base that is almost maybe 80% written in C++ and you have no idea about C++. So it will be very difficult to contribute. Rather start with a project whose tech stacks you are a bit familiar with. Like I was familiar with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I started contributing in the web development project. And I would suggest that set up the repository, like set up the project in your local system, go through it properly a bit, and then ask for the issues so that when you ask for an issue and it gets assigned to you, you can immediately start. Otherwise it might create a delay because then you might take 2 to 3 days to set up the project, and like in worst case even more. In that case what will happen is that the issue is assigned to you and it will take more time to fix it. So
Yeah,
first set up and then ask for the issue.
yeah, I understand. And what is the importance of like community meetings in open source? What are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so like I can speak about layer 5 because that's the community like I contribute most actively to. So community meetings here, even if you are not contributing and just joining, you get to learn a lot. So in layer 5 what happens is that in the community meetings everyone updates about what are the contributions they have made. So even by looking at others contributions also we can learn a lot. So like even if you are not able to understand how to uh like make a PR, just go through the past PRs that has been merged. Even by looking at them we can learn a lot. So yeah, community meetings, everyone shares what work they have been doing, and also in the community meetings, like in layer 5, I know like a lot of new issues come up. So you can like immediately get the issue assigned. Let's say like they are working on improving the responsiveness of a website, and you think that you can solve that issue. So you can immediately ask for it there. That this is something I am interested in solving, and I would like to work on that. And yeah, if you're not interested in working, also just by joining and looking at others' work, also we can learn a lot.
Yeah, that's great. And since you were talking so much about layer 5, we would love to hear what layer 5 actually builds projects on and what are the main tech stacks they focus on, so that our listeners can also get an idea as to how to start with layer 5.
Okay, so like I contribute mainly to the front end projects. Like they have two websites called Meshery.io and Layer5.io. So I have contributed mainly to their web development, but they have a lot of other projects also based on Go. So they have a page on the website called repository overview, or that you can look at and find out like which is the project that you want to get started with. And if not that, you can just like join the newcomers meet, and like they will help you get started with contributing.
That's great. And it would be great if you could suggest how some beginner friendly communities can be found, or where we can get the list of some open source organizations to work on. Because often we want to start, but we don't know where to start from, or we just end up with one organization. And I think it's always better to try two to three. I mean, to contribute to two to three organizations also at the same time. So, would you love to throw some light on that?
So I think the Google Summer of Code website is a very good place to find organizations. So we can find a lot of organizations by looking at looking at their website, and also they have a very good feature of applying filters. So if you are into web development, you can apply the filter of that, and all the projects that all the communities that are into that have web development projects will filter out. So uh, another like I got to know about Layer 5 from the LFX mentorship portal. So that is also a good place to find communities. And yeah, it's always good to explore a few communities and then stick to a few.
Okay, that's great. So, and if we try to contribute to two to three organizations together, does that become hectic, or we just lose track of time, or it's fine to move forward like that?
So I would say as a beginner, stick to one organization in like initially, make few good contributions, and that too in one or two projects. Like even every organizations also they have a lot of projects in various domains. So stick to a few organizations and make some good contributions, because as a beginner, I would say contributing to a lot of organizations would get very hectic. And given the thing that we all are college students, we have to manage college also. So it
True.
depends on how much time you have. Like it completely depends on that. If you can manage two, three organizations, well and good, go ahead with it. But yeah, I couldn't manage. It would get very hectic to me.
Yeah, I understood. And since you picked up the topic of college, I would love to also ask, how did you manage college studies and open source together? Like, it is a big question for everyone who has strict college or have attendance factor in their college.
Okay, so I would say like thanks to my friends, they always give me the notes and the last minute tips to like somehow manage things just a few days before the exam. And like even like I would suggest that if you have some strict attendance criteria in college, then try to take out like few hours daily and be consistent. Like we all can take out 1 to 2 or 3 hours daily, we can do that. So just take out a few hours and use that time. And after coming from college, I generally take a 3 to 4 hours sleep. So that refreshes me up. And after that, I start working on other things, because coming from college, I'm totally tired. I can't do anything. So I take a good rest and then start doing the other things.
So
That's
we've been
great.
talking about open source for a long time. How important do you think open source is, and what do you want to tell the audience about the importance of open source?
Yeah, and
Okay,
how
so
it
like
affects our resume and how it will affect the candidature when we apply to any job applications later.
Okay.
okay,
Incorporate.
so initially when we are starting contributing to open source, obviously we cannot write in a resume that I improved the grammatical errors and the typos here. That's not like it's something good to get started with. But in like slowly when we make better contribution, like let's say like like you did something that improved the loading time of a website or improve the accessibility score of a website. So and these are something that will take 1 to 2 months. So that's when we can add them to our resume. And open source helps a lot because it like first of all, uh, there is no thing such as filter or anything. Whatever you are doing, you can immediately show it on your GitHub. So there is something called credibility and proof of work that you cannot lie. If you have made contributions as a student to such big open source projects, that's a great because understanding the code base and then being able to contribute there is actually takes time. So yeah, it helps a lot in adding things to your resume. But yeah, we cannot write things like we corrected the grammatical errors. That's something we should not write in a resume. But slowly, when we make better contributions, solve bigger issues, we can always write that in a resume.
That's amazing. So you have worked on multiple projects throughout. Which one is your favorite and how did you go about it?
Okay, so I think my favorite would be I have to think about it because everything was really great, but still I would say like I think with AnitaB.org because it was the first opportunity that I got, and yeah, it was like I was a mentor for the membership. I think mentorship Android project, and it was favorite because yeah, I was very excited at it because it was the first time I was getting started. And as a mentor, it was not that I was helping others; I was myself learning a lot of things there. It was the first time like I sent a PR and reviewed the PRs and everything I was learning there. So it was very special for me that finally I have something to write in my resume. So yeah,
First timings are always great.
yes.
Yeah, so we have some questions from our audience side. So let's begin with that. So the first question is how you managed to get such amazing open source experience as well as a good gate rank. So like this is the
Okay.
peak
So
time when everyone applied for gate and they had their exams few days back. So you must also have the same experience last year. Would you please share your journey with everyone?
Just for the
okay. So
audience,
when I was
All India rank
yeah.
of Arunima was 1048.
That's
Okay, so
great.
when I was preparing for GATE, I was not doing any of this. Like whenever I said that I started doing all these things from March 2022. So while I was preparing for GATE, I didn't do anything else. I was just preparing for GATE. But this is something I won't recommend completely. Like even with GATE preparations, you can take out a few hours, few like 1 to 2 hours daily. And also like I had the thing that I want to go for GATE right from my first year, so I was preparing a bit of that from right from my first year. So it was not that things piled up at the end and I have to complete everything there. So yeah. And about the last year, this year I was simply just revising the thing, so it took less time for me. It was not so hectic. And yeah, along when I was like new to the subjects, I didn't do anything else other than preparing for GATE.
Okay, okay. So the next question is what is your tech stack and which tech stack or domain is more preferred in fellowships like MLH?
Okay, so my tech stack is mainly front-end development, and I learned it from MDN Docs, WECode Camp, and W3 schools. And which tech stack is to like there is nothing called preferred. You can submit any project, but one thing to remember is that in the last after the technical interview, they have something called matching survey. And I know a lot of people were posting that we got rejected in the matching survey, and the reason is that maybe in your matching survey you just said that you are interested only in Android development projects and you are not interested in anything else. And maybe they did not have any project related to Android development. So you can get rejected because of your tech stack here. But apart from applying and going to the technical interview, I don't think till now they don't have any such thing that any tech stack is preferred. But in that last round, you need to keep that in mind that if you are writing that I am only interested in Android development, and maybe in the skill sets they like in my project they required some basic knowledge of Rust, and I had that. So that is something that helped me in getting selected. So let's say you are not at all interested in blockchain and all the seats that they have is in blockchain. So that's when you might get rejected in the matching survey round. So that's when your tech stack matters, but for the previous round, it doesn't matter. And it makes sense also. Like if you're not at all interested in blockchain, like they can't assign you to a project that you will be working for 3 months on blockchain. You did not be an expert, but you should have some basic knowledge and some interest to learn blockchain at least if you want to get assigned to a blockchain based project.
So there are a
I
lot of
hope that answers.
directions in which a person or a student can go. So your tech stack was basically front end.
Yeah, my tech stack was front end, but I was also interested in learning about blockchain, and that's something I mentioned in the resume, in the matching survey that I am interested in learning about blockchain also. Like I'm interested in those projects, and that's how they matched me with Solana Labs, which is a blockchain based company.
Yes, yes, yes. So the next question is I applied for MLH and my essay got passed, but I got rejected for code sample. Can you give an idea what kind of code sample they prefer and what kind of questions they ask in the interview?
Okay, so about the code sample, I think first thing is that get the code sample reviewed by a lot of MLH fellows. They will give you proper guidance on where to improve. Another thing is that don't try to copy the code sample from any project because 3,000 to 4,000 people will be applying, and if you are copying it from anywhere, there is a high chance someone else has also done the same project.
Same.
Another thing is that about the code sample, try to watch the MLH fellowship info sessions on YouTube. There they have exactly shared what exactly they are looking for in the code sample and try to apply that in your code sample also. Just a few tweaks. Like let me give an example. Like don't make a complete clone of Uber. You can just modify it by making it an ambulance service or something else. So make a few modifications and then apply. And about the kind of questions they ask in the interview. So in the first interview, they ask questions related to the eligibility criteria and whatever you mentioned in your application, like about your experiences and why are you interested in the program. They will ask mainly these questions. In the second technical interview, they ask you to share your screen, and whatever questions they will ask is based on the tech stack of the project that you submitted. So if in my time, I had only one interview, but recently I heard that there is two interviewers taking the interview for the technical interview. So you need to be very well versed with the tech stack of the project that you are submitting for the second interview. And they ask a few other questions like what are the challenges that you ran into, and how did you overcome them? What is the real world problem that your project is solving? What is unique about your project? Is there some similar thing already in the market? So they ask a few questions related to that. And if you want to get a list of the questions, I have written a blog on 2022 wrap up, which is there in my hash note, and I have also shared it on LinkedIn. So if you go to the MLH fellowship section from the table of contents, you can see the list of questions. I've listed them all down. You can easily find it from there.
That will be very helpful and handy.
Yeah. So with this, we come to an end of the questions we have for today as well as the session. I must say it was a wonderful session and quite informative. And thank you
Definitely.
so much, Arunima, for joining us in today's session. And with this, we are ending the session on a warm ending note.
We would want to present you a small memento. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your
And,
time and all the information you have provided to our audience.
and
Yeah,
also,
it
if
was
any
really
of you
great.
have any extra questions, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. I will be more than happy to answer your questions as well.
Sure. So thanks again, Arunima. So with this, we can end our session for today. Thank you everyone who joined the session today and who put up their questions. It was really a great time.